Did you know a soft, smooth launch can cut fuel use by 20% on every tank? Japanese drivers use this one habit to save hundreds yearly without changing cars. And today we reveal 14 pro tips that together slash fuel costs by up to 50%. Learn these now and keep real money in your own pocket instead of burning it. But here's the real shock. Most drivers waste 40% of their fuel before they even start driving. Pro tip 14, pre-drive planning like a Japanese commuter. Saving fuel starts before we even turn the key, and that decision can change how much money leaves your tank each week. We have all done it, jump in late, pick the same crowded route, and let habit burn gasoline while we sit stuck and frustrated. Japanese commuters treat each trip like a small strategy session, plan, cut waste, and keep their cars reliable for longer. Before we move, we look at the map, choose smoother roads, and avoid steep climbs that punish engines and eat fuel for no real reward. One extra light, one useless hill, one stop-and-go stretch turns your morning into steady drain instead of calm progress. When we stack errands into one clean loop, we warm the engine once, keep oil flowing, and turn cold starts into one relaxed circuit that protects mechanical parts in your wallet. That is how fleets keep total miles high and total fuel low, by linking jobs, planning stops, and skipping backtracks that feel small but cost real money over a year. We also stay honest about traffic. If a route is always jammed at one time, we shift our schedule, leave earlier, or cut through quieter streets to stop paying in wasted gas. 10 minutes of planning at the start of the week can turn your commute into a smoother, cheaper pattern, and the next habit fixes the warm-up mistake that quietly eats fuel while your car just sits. Pro tip 13, warm up smart, not long. Idling for 10 minutes feels safe, but that habit wastes fuel, time, and money before your day even starts. Japanese drivers treat warm-up like a short ritual, not a coffee break, because cold oil and tight clearances need some movement, not a long idle that builds carbon. We turn the key, watch the gauges, give the engine a brief moment, then roll out gently with light throttle and smooth shifts that keep things reliable. Cold oil is thicker. It drags across bearings, rings, and valvetrain parts, so heavy revs early can create wear and damage you only see later. Long idling is not free comfort. It is 0 miles per gallon, soot buildup, and watered oil that loses protection. That is why Japanese fleets lean on idle cut systems, teach drivers to shut down during long waits, and track fuel saved when engines are working or off, not humming for no reason. Our move is simple. Give the car 30 to 60 seconds to stabilize, then drive gently until temperature and response feel normal. Your rings seat cleaner, your cat lights up faster, and winter starts to feel more reliable without that heavy gasoline smell. If you see people idling forever in your area, drop a comment and tell us how common that habit and waste really are. If this is already saving you real money and engine stress, hit like, tap subscribe, and stay ready for the next simple fix. Once the engine is ready, the next mistake is how most drivers launch from each light, and that is where the real savings live. Pro tip 12. Smooth Japanese launch instead of drag race starts. That hard launch at every green light feels powerful, but it hammers fuel, tires, and transmission life for no real gain. Japanese drivers treat each start like a smooth push, not a race, and that calm discipline pays money over thousands of miles. We ease into the pedal, hold a steady throttle, and let the car build speed without that lurch that dumps extra gasoline into the cylinders. Modern engines pour in extra fuel the moment you stab the pedal, chasing quick response while your miles per gallon fall like a rock. When you roll out with a gentle, progressive launch, the computer keeps things leaner, shifts come earlier, and the drivetrain stays reliable. In tight traffic, that drag race jump just means you reach the next line of cars, then smash the brakes and turn energy into heat and brake dust. Dash logs on real commutes show the biggest fuel spikes right after harsh starts that feel fun but cost silent money. The Japanese eco-drive style turns each light into soft flow. The line moves together, and nobody needs to fight for car length. Over a week of city driving, that habit can mean fewer fill-ups, quieter mounts, and less stress. Once you feel how smooth a proper launch is, you will not miss the urgency, And the next big win comes from how you slow the car down as they do in Tokyo traffic. Pro tip 11, long view braking instead of last-second slamming. Every hard brake you feel in your chest is like throwing fuel, tire life, and brake pad money straight into the air. Japanese drivers learn to watch far ahead, read traffic like a slow movie, and lift early so the car coasts rather than sprinting toward each red and crushing the pedal in panic. We keep our eyes up, watch crosswalks, signs, and brake lights 2 or 3 cars ahead so we can come off the throttle and let inertia carry us forward. When you stay in gear and roll with a closed pedal, many engines cut injection, so use drops towards 0 while speed bleeds off under control. That means fewer full stops, more gentle slowdowns, and a cabin that feels smoother instead of that constant lurch and grab. In busy streets, this long view style turns a jerky commute into a calm flow because you stop chasing each GAP and start pacing the pack. Your pads stay cooler, rotors stay flatter, and the wheel stops shaking from heat cracks and warped metal. Fleets that track this see drivers who brake softer, sooner, not only save fuel but stretch intervals. It is simple. Look further, lift sooner, roll longer, and let the brakes finish what the engine and air cannot. Saving fuel is not just about when you slow, it is about which REV band you live in, and that is the next secret Japanese drivers guard carefully today. Pro tip 10, living in the efficient RPM band. Your tach is a quiet miles gauge, and Japanese drivers treat that needle like a silent coach for economy and longer engine life. They keep revs in a calm, efficient band around 1,500 to 2,200, where most 4-cylinder engines feel relaxed and balanced instead of strained or screaming. We short shift out of low gears, but not so early that the car shudders, because ugly lugging causes real damage to bearings and mounts over time. On ramps and hills, we call for extra power when we need it, and that discipline keeps revs reasonable, heat stable, and miles per gallon healthier. With automatics, we live in eco modes. Roll into the pedal with a soft foot and let the box grab higher gears sooner so the engine stays in that reliable window instead of bouncing near the red line. Less time near peak revs means smoother temperature swings, cleaner oil, and longer converter life, because you are not blasting raw heat into it on every commute. If this makes you rethink your REV range and POWER habits, hit like, click subscribe, and drop a comment on whether you stay in that reliable sweet spot. Controlling revs is half the game, and the hills on your route can give you free help if you treat gravity like a friend instead of a hassle. Pro tip 9, engine braking and coasting on hills. Riding the pedal and smelling hot brakes on every hill is a sign your energy and money are turning into heat instead of extra miles. Japanese mountain drivers drop a gear, let engine compression hold speed, and use that control to keep cars stable while the computer cuts fuel on closed throttle decel. In injection systems, lift your foot fully, stay in gear, and the ECU can trigger fuel cut, so the car rolls with gravity while the engine spins for free. On long grades, we pick one lower gear that keeps RPM in a band, then hold a steady pedal instead of riding brakes for minutes, which cooks pads and glazes rotors. That shiny layer on tired rotors is real damage from repeated overheat, and it shows up as vibration and longer stopping distance when you need power. By leaning on engine braking first, then finishing with short, firm pedal use, we keep temperatures lower, brake feel consistent, and control in our hands when the descent gets curvy. In Japanese training, this is mountain practice, taught to taxi fleets, bus drivers, and delivery crews on twisty roads. The payoff is fewer pad jobs, fewer warped disc replacements, and less wasted energy on downhill runs. From there, we move from hills to hardware, because the way your tires meet the road decides how much resistance you fight on each flat city commute. Pro tip 8, tire pressure discipline the Japanese way. Soft tires might feel like comfort, but that squishy ride is stealing miles and burning money on every trip. Low pressure makes the tread squish, builds heat, and raises rolling resistance, so the engine works harder for the same distance. Japanese drivers treat tire pressure like vital signs, checking with a gauge at fuel stops or on a monthly reminder instead of waiting for a warning light. They follow the door jamb spec, not the sidewall max, And on long highway runs, they may add a small, safe bump within range to keep the carcass stable and the car gliding. Energy agencies show that all 4 tires running 10% low can drag the economy several percent, turning into cash over a year. In the Bay, we have watched commuters arrive with tires 10 or 15 pounds, upset about weak miles per gallon, when the real problem was lazy maintenance on the air. After a fill, steering feels sharper, braking distance shrinks, and the car tracks straight instead of wandering on every groove. In Japan, shops tie TPMS checks into routine visits because correct pressure is safety and economy, giving a steady grip in heavy rain and calmer behavior in swerves. If you want free range, keep a gauge in your glove box, make a routine, and watch how minutes of discipline turn into reliable savings before we touch trunk weight in the next tip. Pro tip 7, traveling light Japanese trunk discipline. Open your trunk, and if it looks like a storage unit, your miles are paying rent on every drive. Extra weight is dead load, and guidance says 100 pounds can trim miles per gallon by 1 to 2%, especially in smaller vehicles. Japanese drivers treat cabin space with minimalist discipline, keeping only what the day requires instead of dragging old tools, sports gear, and mystery boxes. They clear the cargo area on a schedule, binning junk, stashing chains or beach chairs at home, and asking whether big items earn daily fuel costs. In compact hatchbacks and sedans, that case of drinks, old jack, box of bricks, and camping crate can add up to a hidden passenger who never buys gas. We have seen commuters ditch work gear, kids' strollers, and random supplies, then feel smoother acceleration, better brake response, and a real bump in economy over tanks. Brakes and tires also enjoy the lighter life, because every stop with less mass means cooler rotors, healthier PID, and longer tread depth before the next service. Japanese company fleets track curb weight on delivery vans and cars, because dead cargo eats profit and beats up suspensions before their time. If you want to test, pull everything non-essential, drive a week, and feel how the car turns more responsive and relaxed before we talk about wind and airflow in the next pro tip. Pro tip 6, AC, windows, and airflow like an engineer. Everyone knows AC eats energy, but wide open windows at speed can be shockingly wasteful for your wallet and noisy for your nerves. Japanese drivers treat airflow like an engineering puzzle, choosing setups that give comfort with less drag and a smaller hit to economy. In city traffic, they crack windows, use the cabin fan, and save chill for hot or humid stretches. On faster roads and freeways, they flip the script, sealing windows to cut turbulence and running moderate AC, because pressure around an open frame steals miles at higher speed. Tests on vehicles show AC can raise fuel use by close to 10%, while windows down at highway pace can hurt efficiency more in models. Japanese drive guides lean into climate modes, recirc settings, and softer temperature targets instead of max cold, so the compressor cycles gentler and spends less energy on a trip. They also practice a trick at the end of drives, shutting AC off a minute early, letting the system coast on stored coolant while the fan keeps air moving. You arrive comfortable, but the compressor has gone quiet, and you are not wasting fuel cooling a cabin near park. So on your next run, think like an engineer, match windows and AC to speed, and be ready, because Japanese drivers attack idling habits with the same calm precision in the next pro tip. But before we ride into our top 5, please help us out by subscribing to our channel. Pro tip 5, idling and cue behavior that does not burn your wallet. Sitting still with the engine running is pure waste, 0 miles per gallon, and slow invisible damage that eats money while you go nowhere. Japanese fleets attack that habit with idle stop systems on buses, delivery trucks, and commuter cars, and they train drivers to shut down calmly whenever a stop clearly lasts longer than a normal light. We copy that discipline by asking one simple question at every standstill, instead of letting the car hum just because it already runs. If the queue is rolling steadily and you keep moving car length by car length, we stay ready and let gentle coasting carry us forward. If the line is frozen, a rail crossing, school pickup, or drive-through that barely budges, we drop to park, switch off cleanly, and stop wasting fuel. The key is control, not nervous flicking that can hurt starters or confuse modern electronics when you panic tap the ignition again and again. Eco-driving tests in crowded cities show that cutting long idle time can trim fuel bills and exhaust emissions in ways regular drivers actually notice. Vans that used to idle at every loading stop suddenly gain real range in the same work week just by killing that wasted time. Idling and creeping are quite killers of economy, but even perfect queue behavior cannot save you if the engine is badly out of tune. And that is where the next pro tip goes deep slowly. Pro tip 4. Air, spark, and oil in tune for maximum miles. We cannot drive like Japan while the engine breathes through a dirty filter, fires a weak spark, and churns heavy oil that fights every cold start. Japanese owners treat these basic service items as core because clean airflow, strong ignition, and correct lubricant turn discipline into real savings instead of wishful thinking. First move, we keep the airbox tidy and swap the filter on schedule. Not only when the car feels dull, any panel that looks like a clogged sponge instead of crisp media goes straight in the trash. A choked filter makes the engine work harder, raises vacuum, and bumps fuel use even in easy city driving, while the car feels lazy under light throttle. Next, we look at spark plugs on time, checking gap and wear so each cylinder fires strong and consistent, instead of waiting for misfire codes and a shaking idle. Worn electrodes demand more voltage, stumble more often, and push the computer to dump extra fuel just to chase missing power. Then we choose the oil grade the manual actually calls for, often 0W20 or a similar thin blend in many Japanese-style engines that want fast flow. Thin enough to move quick, thick enough to hold pressure, that correct viscosity reduces internal drag, speeds warm-up, and keeps variable valve gear happy. In Japan, these checks are routine, not emergency rescues, and that calm approach keeps injectors clean, cats healthy, and combustion smooth for hundreds of thousands of miles. When air, spark, and oil are in good shape, every Japanese-style driving habit pays bigger fuel savings and longer engine life. Pro tip 3. Cruising speed and tempo that Japanese drivers favor. 10 miles per hour in the wrong direction on a highway can quietly slice a shocking chunk out of your fuel budget without any drama on the dash. Fuel economy curves are U-shaped, ugly at crawling speeds, and painful at high numbers, with a sweet, steady band in the middle where engines feel relaxed and efficient. Japanese drivers work to live in that calm zone, hold one speed, and stop treating every empty gap like an order to sprint, brake, and then stomp again in frustration. Instead of constant lane changes and sharp bursts that light up instant economy bars, we pick a flowing pack, sit with it, and aim for a smooth, predictable tempo. On gentle grades, we let speed sag a tiny bit instead of forcing the car to hold a perfect number at any cost, which keeps revs controlled and fuel trims happy. Cruise control is helpful on long, flat runs, but we click it off when hills get steep, because a human foot can accept small changes rather than calling for full power. Energy studies show that jumping from a relaxed cruise to a much higher pace can burn far more gas for only a few minutes of arrival time nobody remembers. If this pushes you toward calmer, cheaper cruising and less stress, smash like, hit subscribe, and comment whether you sit in the flow or chase every gap. Speed is only one lever we can pull, and Japanese fleets also reshape trip structure, stacking errands so the engine spends more time in that efficient band. Pro tip 2. Trip stacking and weekly patterns that mimic Japanese fleet logic. 5 short cold trips in a single day can chew through more fuel than one smart loop that covers the same distance with real discipline. Japanese delivery fleets and taxi companies learn this early, and they plan routes so engines warm once, then stay in their efficient range instead of bouncing from cold to hot over and over. We can steal that same logic at home by stacking errands into one continuous drive instead of scattering quick runs across the whole week. When you put the longest leg first, maybe the highway section or crosstown chore, the engine reaches full temperature early, oil thins to healthy flow, and the cat lights up clean. After that, each extra stop is a short pause, not a complete reset, so you spend more minutes in that reliable zone and fewer in rich warm-up mode. Eco-driving reports from real fleets show this planning cuts total idle slashes cold start minutes, and keeps average economy higher across the month. The bonus is life for the engine and oil, because fewer cold chugs mean less fuel washing cylinder walls and less moisture soaking in the crankcase between drives. All of these tricks are useless if your mindset stays locked in race mode, and that is where the final pro tip rewires how we feel at the wheel. We group chores by area and time to stay efficient. Pro tip 1. Zen flow driving, the Japanese mindset behind all the savings. The real secret in Japanese driving culture is not a gadget. It is the calm, relaxed way they let traffic flow through their day without constant anger or panic. Flow driving means soft inputs, steady spacing, and eyes that scan far ahead, so you react with time instead of slamming pedals at the very last second. Instead of charging every tiny gap, we time our moves like a simple puzzle, asking when the next wave of cars will roll, not how we can dive into every space. In many Western cities, each light feels like a drag strip, with drivers sprinting away, then stomping the brakes only a few seconds later with zero real gain. Japanese style turns that into a kind of moving meditation, where the car glides, speed changes are gradual, and the cabin stays quieter even when the road is busy and crowded. Trials on eco-driving show that a driver who keeps a constant pace, avoids harsh launches and brakes, less can cut fuel use by 20 to 30% compared to a stop-start maniac. We have seen it in our own trips, watching range estimates creep upward when we stop chasing every gap and just ride the natural rhythm of the traffic. That mindset is simple respect for the machine, for the fuel cost, and for the people around you, which lowers stress and sharpens awareness at the same time. These Japanese-style pro tips help us squeeze real savings from your reliable car. So click the next video and dodge expensive scams. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.